So we can deal 4 damage to probably Zaz. Other birds. Yeah, saw that coming. Reading the card explains the card. Hey there, Cons. Today we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to do jump into Magic the Gathering Final Fantasy. We have the Valiant Chocobo deck. In the deck, we've got You're Not Alone, which is 1 mana, a white. Target creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn. If you control 3 or more creatures, it gets +4/+4 until end of turn instead. So this is a combat trick that incentivizes us to go wide. So the more creatures we have, 3 or more specifically, the stronger this card gets. Zaz's Chocobo is an 0/1 for landfall. Whenever a land you control enters, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. So it grows every time we play a land. Dwarven Castle Guard is also leaning into the go wide strategy, as whenever this creature dies, create a 1/1 colorless hero creature token. So it's a sticky, just in case we have some trades with our opponent or there's some removal, we'll have something left over. Chocobo Kick, with a kicker cost, return a land you control to its owner's hand. Target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to target creature an opponent controls. So we need a creature on the battlefield in order to cast this card. And then if it was kicked, the creature you control deals twice that much damage instead. So we get to double up the amount of damage and return a land to our hand, which plays into our landfall synergies. Isao Greens, create a 2/2 green bird creature token with whenever a land you control enters. This token gets +1/+0 until end of turn. So we get to create some birds with some landfall synergies, and then we can also cast it for 6 in a green out of our graveyard as a flashback cost. Right, the Shoe Puff is an enchantment. Landfall, whenever a land you control enters, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. So it's paying off into our landfall synergies. And then we can also pay 5 green. This enchantment becomes a 7/7 beast creature in addition to its other types. So it can help close out some games if we happen to flood into that mana cost. Side quest, Raise the Chocobo. Whenever this enchantment enters, create a 2/2 green bird creature token with whenever a land you control enters, this token gets +1/+0 until end of turn. At the beginning of your first main phase, if you control 4 or more birds, transform this enchantment. And then it transforms into Black Chocobo. When it does, search your library for a land card, put it onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. So that's playing into our landfall synergies. And then whenever a land you control enters, birds you control get +1/+0 until end of turn. So that will stack with, the text that reads on the individual birds, getting +1/+0 until end of turn. Town Greeter is a 2 mana for a 1/1. Whenever it enters, mill 4 cards. You may put a land card from among them into your hand. If you put a town card in your hand this way, you gain 2 life. So kind of helps us dig into some more lands to enable our landfall synergies. And sometimes we get lucky and hit a town and get some life gain out of it. Barnett, Princess of Alexandria, is a 2/2 lifelink. Whenever she attacks, you may remove a lore counter from each of any number of sagas you control. Put a +1/+1 counter on Garnet for each lore counter removed this way. So that is on attack declaration, but potentially we have some sagas in the deck that we can kind of scoot up in chapters to grow her into something that the opponent can't handle. So just removing 2, lore counters from a saga would make her a 4/4 lifelink, which is pretty good stat line for 2 mana. Snow Villiers, Vigilance, and his power is equal to the number of creatures we control. So that definitely plays into our go wide, increase the number of creatures on the battlefield kind of strategy here. Summon Choco Mog is a 3/3 with Stampede. Other creatures you control get +1/+0 until end of turn. So there's 4 chapters of that. So that will incentivize us to go wide and grow the team. Precious Wanderings, a 2 and a green for an instant. Search your library for a basic land card or town card, put it on the battlefield tapped, and shuffle. When you search your library this way, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. So It digs us into lands for our landfall synergies and also grows at one of our creatures. Kina K Gourmet. It's that 2 through Q. If one or more tokens would be created under your control, those tokens plus a 1/1 green frog creature tokens are created instead. So we're going to create a bunch of bird tokens, and then if this Q is out, then we get some frog tokens as well. And then we can pay 2 and sack a frog to put a 1/1 counter on. So you can do that at instant speed. So depending on how, if you're attacking in and how your opponent declares their blocks, if they're, trying to eat some frogs, we can, in response, pay 2 mana to eat a frog to grow Kina, especially if we are flooding out towards the end of the game. Summon Fenrir is a saga. First chapter is search your library for a basic land card, put it on the battlefield tapped, then shuffle, so landfall synergy. Second chapter is whenever you cast a creature spell this turn, that creature enters with an additional +1/+1 counter on it. So on this chapter, we can play a bunch of our little guys, our 1 or 2 drop creatures, and they get to enter the battlefield with a 1/1 counter on them. And the third chapter is draw a card if you control the creature with the greatest power or tied for the greatest power. So we get some card advantage, assuming we have something big on our side of the battlefield. Earth Rescue Mission is a sorcery. You get to choose one. So it's a flexible card. We can either create 3 1/1 colorless hero creature tokens to establish a board state, or if we happen to have our board state already established and have our payoffs, growing our team by +1/+0, we can take the 59 flights of stairs, which tap up to 3 target creatures and put a stun counter on one of them. So we get to tap our opponent's creatures to clear the way for blockers. Dion, Biomunt's Dominant. So 3/3. During your turn, Dion and other knights you control have flying, so some evasion built in. And then when he enters, create a 2/2 white knight creature token. So he gets a little buddy. So we get 5/5 power and toughness for 4 mana. And then if we happen to get later in the game, 4 white, tap him to exile and then return to the battlefield transformed as the saga here. And Bahamut, Warden of Light, is pretty powerful. You get to put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control, and then those creatures gain flying until end of turn, so that can help us close out the game. For our team, allow them to fly overhead. And then the third chapter is destroy target permanent, and then exile Bahamut and return to the battlefield on Dion's side. So we get to remove something on the way out, and then try to start the process again if the game happens to last that late. Magitech Armor is a 4/4 vehicle, and then when he enters, create a 1/1 colorless hero creature token. So we get to build a pilot for free as we cast this card. Summon Fat Chocobo. There are 4 chapters on there. Work is to create a bird, and then 2 through 4 creatures you control gain trample until end of turn. So as we're creating a bunch of creatures and we're playing lands and they're birds and getting all these landfall and +1/+0 synergies, we also gave them trample, so we have better attacks into our opponent. Barts and Boko, this is removal, sometimes at a discount. So it's got affinity for birds. So we assume we have a lot of birds out. We can cheat this guy into play, and then they deal damage, the birds, equal to its power to target creature opponent control. So it can remove something pretty easily. Chocobo Racetrack, this card's a win condition in itself. Whenever you play a land card, create a 2/2 bird. Renoa Hartilli, 3 green-white. When she enters, create Angelo, a legendary 1/1 green and white dog creature token. So we get a little buddy. And then whenever Renoa attacks, another target creature you control gets +1/+0 until end of turn for each creature we control. So we get rewarded for having a lot of creatures, and we can give one of our guys on our team +1/+1 for each of those creatures. And then finally, the top end of the curve is Balam T-Rex. So this gives us some flexibility. If we need to dig into lands, we can pay 2 to force cycle. Otherwise, 4 green, we get to play this out. It's a 6/6 big trampoline boy, and then when it enters, we gain life. So sometimes that's relevant. And sustaining. Pretty basic lands, some plains, some forests, some tapped land towns, and then finally the capital city, so we can always cycle that off. So this deck wants to go wide, and we get rewarded for it. So let's see all the cool stuff we can do. All right, we go first. We do get a free mulligan. We are missing a color, and we don't have a way. I mean, Town Greeter might find a white source, but it's probably better to take the free mulligan. Yeah, this is much better. All right, let's see what our opponent has. They have green. Uh-oh. So I'm assuming they don't have removal. And if they do have removal, it's conditional. So I'll play out Garnet. So when she attacks... Oh, yes. We need some sagas. Okay. They have red. Okay, so they're not attacking in, so I don't think they have a trick. Let's see what we mill with our Town Greeter here. There's at least one land, so we'll grab that. And then play out a land. We can attack in. I don't think they have response. Okay, so we get in 2 points of damage and heal for 2. Their Chocobo's growing. And it continues to grow. We don't have any birds. Do we jump? Yeah, we can. Alright. Yeah, this is awkward. So we'll attack in. And we'll cycle here in case we hit a 2-drop or less. We don't. And then we have enough lands. We'll probably just hang on to the T-Rex. It'd be nice to get some birds. It'd be nice to get some sagas. It'd be nice for them to miss their... Oh. Land drops. This guy looks like he's gonna get a land. Double the number of 1/1 counters on that creature. Okay, so we probably should have saved our chumper. Didn't expect to see this guy. He grabbed the bird instead. Yeah, that's a good choice. All right. This is not a bird. So we got 5 mana. We can't double spell. We could get a saga. This enters the battlefield. The land enters the battlefield tapped. Like, this isn't really doing anything. Right? He is a bird. Alright, I forgot that part. So we can deal 4 damage to probably Zaz. Other birds. Yeah, saw that coming. Reading the card explains the card. The 4/3 stat line's pretty good though. Might slow them down from attacking in, or it might not. Summon the fat Chocobo. Yeah, he's just gonna get trample on later turns, so. Okay, so there's a reason why we kept the T-Rex, right? 6/6 stat line's pretty good. Gaining life's pretty good. Try to stabilize here if possible. They only have, 3 creatures. Don't really have any favorable attacks unless they happen to be hanging on to some tricks. That's a good one for them. Also a pretty good one for them. All right. What are they growing? The basic bird? Oh, Zaz. Interesting. No attacks? So that's not what I expected. Okay. That went well for us there. We'll just play out our sagas and play our tapped land. And we are on the back foot a little bit. That's okay. Where are we? They don't have a way to kill it. It's got trample. We're at a reasonable, healthy life total here. Okay. That works. They have 5 cards in hand. Access to 6 mana. Only 2 of them being red. They can do 11 to us currently. Can they find an additional 7 points? They don't think they can for 4 mana. That might help them. The bird gets to grow by what? +2? +4? Oh, it's getting closer than I would like. Oh yeah, and the shoe puff. So they got 6 points down. Were we down to 1 if we don't block? They all have trample. Okay, so there's 12, 15. All right, we're at 18. All right. I say we just take it all, right? They don't have trample. We can swing in like that, right? This is going to be on the 4th chapter. We might lose to that. Oh, they're down to 1. Okay. It's awfully close. So, yeah. All right. So the chapters expire. They only have 1 creature. That's a 4/4. But if they play a bunch of lands, bird grows by +1/+0 for each landfall trigger, and it ride the shoe puff. They have access to 7 or more mana, but oh, haste and trample. Yikes. We don't have any frogs. So 9 minus 6, 7. Okay, we survive. We don't have any frogs, unfortunately. All right, we do create a token, and I think that's enough, right? Wow, close game. Yeah, so every little decision matters. I think they might have misplayed by offering Zaz up. You know, if that guy stuck on the battlefield, they probably could have found a better way to attack in. Especially, I mean, they likely drew this later in the match, but we were patient. We didn't. Now, sometimes when you're playing, especially like green-white, it's a pretty aggressive deck. You want to just play your card, play your card, play your card. But if you can kind of be patient and develop what cards you're playing. So we did have a choice to force cycle to kind of thin the deck or whatever, but no, it's better to hang on to this to get that life gain and a big creature on the battlefield, especially because we had the lands for it. I might have misplayed with Bart's and Boko, but at the same time, you still want to have creatures on the battlefield with, you know, power and toughness. And then, yeah, we just got incremental advantage compared to our opponent to close that game out. So it was a very close matchup, but that was a good one. If you're enjoying the content, please consider liking the channel or subscribing to the video. Thanks. We go first. We got some early turn plays. Got some awkward mana. But we got some of our cooler cards. It's a risky keep, but we'll accept. Commune with beavers. They find their land, as do we. Alright, let's get the birds out here. Attack in. Quinoa. Q gourmet. Quinoa. Hina. Alright. Sweet. Let's do this. We're gonna make a lot of dudes. Or now let's play the cool stuff, right? Yeah. It's a little one-sided. They are hitting some strong cards though. Yeah, we're just being a bully beat down right now. When you got it, right? That's what aggro does. Yeah, good game. Sometimes it'd be like that. All right, we go first. Got some early turn plays. It's not the most gasoline for the fire, but honestly, I'd rather play our low power derpy stuff first anyways. I'm happy to keep. And we're hitting our land drops, which is great. They get a bird of their own. That bird's a little bit bigger currently. Do we trick them? Nah. We can offer it though. I don't think they choose to block. I stand corrected. That's okay. Yeah, we're clearing their side of the board. We're keeping our creature around, and it should be growing. Assuming we continue to play lands on our turn here. Go into the Fenrir, which also searches up a land and puts on the battlefield tab, so we can grow this twice. Next turn. Alright. I think we tried to attack in. They found their other remaining land color. I need more white. And we'll attack in. There we go. And it's not a bird. Okay, they did that at summary. Sorry. Sorcery speed. Offer the trade. Let's go. I'll take it. All right. Throw the Chocobo, attack in. Lay out Garnet. And we'll hang on to the T-Rexor as a creature. Unfortunately, we don't have any Sagas. We could draw into one. Our opponent has 4 cards in hand, access to 6 mana. And they get the racetrack. They play land after that. They do. Comes a 2/2 Chocobo on their side. And Chocobo kick. There it is. So they remove our Garnet. That's okay. Back in. 5/6. They chump. They do. And we'll play our T-Rexor. Roar. Get him. Purse Wandering. This is an instant speed. So we can grow our Chocobo by 2 next turn, potentially. With this instant. Oh, they've got removal of their own, but it doesn't quite do it. They need more birds. All right. We'll just attack in, see how they choose to block. We'll grow the T-Rex, get some more trample in. All right, they have 1 creature, 1 card in hand. Is it a land? All right, good game. Yeah, so the line of play we chose, you know, we use our combat trick and then also took some favorable blocks on our side and then kept their creature count low, removed their birds, and then kept growing our 1-drop that we started, our little dirtly 1-drop from the beginning of the game. Yeah, it's always good to have outnumber your opponent in terms of number of creatures, right? Opponent goes first. We've got a pretty slow hand. Get a free mulligan. Yeah, I like this better. Get more lands that come into the battlefield untapped. They're on blue. Ooh, interesting. We'll get some vehicles out there. Create a bird. They have a second color they're going to show here. Oh, they're surveilling. So I'm assuming it's black. Is that a fair assumption? They have a 1-drop here. Bounce to hand. What's going on, opponent? Thinking. They do. Wow. That is 4/4. 1/4. I'm sorry. It could potentially become a 4/4 if there are 7 or more lands on their side of the battlefield. Okay. We'll just get the Saga online. We'll show them everything. There is a line of play where we kind of try to surprise them, but yeah, let's do that. Because I'm assuming they'll block. Okay. And we'll do that in response. Rose by 2. We'll clear out their Scorpion Sentinel. Alright, clearing the way. I don't think we'll end up double spelling next turn, but they have a 3/3. Liar will probably offer the trade with that. With our ground bound Chocobo. Oh, we could double spell. Yeah, let's do that. Let's see if we mill a land here. Oh. Swing and a miss. Alright. All the same, we'll play that out. Get more points of damage by putting the Fenrir out, getting a land, finding a land from our deck here. Swinging with the 5/3 bird. Here we go. Gets in. Alright, so they have 2 flyers, but this needs to be crewed by 1. They're stuck on 3 mana, seemingly. Yeah, okay. That'll do it. We go first. We have both colors of land. Got some early turn plays. Yeah, let's keep. Mirror match, here we go. All right, let's trick our opponent. Second. Versus wandering. Go this by +1/+1. And get through. Okay. That worked out favorably. They have a Garnet of their own and a Zach Fair. Okay. So we can either put out 3 1/1s or we can tap all them down. Put a stun counter on them. Yeah, let's try that. Stun counter and their lifelink. Get in 3 points, gain 3. Might not be. Yeah, we gotta get rid of that thing. Yikes. Might not have been the play. All right. Let's go wide. Okay. This should work out better for us, right? Do they have removal? Nope, they've got Stampede. Back in, let's go. All right. We will crew. And fast to blockers. Trade those off potentially. Indestructible. Okay. That's fine. We'll get rid of their snow. All right. Get a doggo. Wide. For the team. Okay. They have 4 cards in hand. They have the Chocobo and Garnet. It's good synergy for them. They're looking at a lot of our stuff currently. Ouch. Yeah. We can take this, right? Chocobo kick. Yeah, we're definitely doing that. Kicker. This creature, that creature. This land. Yep. That worked out. Let's play it. Get in there. So that's on chapter 3, or wow. Okay, so they're missing some land drops. This might work out. Okay, ride the shoe puff. Now, how does this read when another target creature? So we'll make that the dog. And everybody gets favorable attack. They responded by killing that. That's okay. Get the fat Chocobo out. Still going wide. They have 3 cards in hand, only access to 5 mana. They have their own fat Chocobo. This turn we get trample on everybody here. Try the shoe puff. Good game. All right. Yeah, so that matchup was pretty good. It went back and forth. We got a lucky break when we drew into our Chocobo kick. But, you know, they had their fair share of interaction. They had their Slash of Light. They had their Aerith Rescue Mission tapping down all of our things. Their Zac Fair, target indestructible. That was a really good matchup. That's just good, fun, honest Magic. So I love to see that every time. Hopefully this helps somebody out there, and I appreciate you tuning in. Thanks. Take care. Hey there, cons. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. See you out there in the plane of Tarkir.